Hey runners, coming to you from a very snowy Colorado, as you can see. In fact, my kids were home from a snow day today, so it's been a little bit crazy around here. However, it's my rest day, so I was able to get some cross training in with them with their Go Noodle videos. If you guys have kids, you're probably very familiar with Go Noodle. If you're not familiar with Go Noodle and you have small children, you should definitely check it out. It's pretty awesome. But wrapping up the first month of Boston Marathon training. So in this video, I'm going to talk about that as well as kind of my big goal I'm setting for Boston. I've honed in on that. So I'm going to share that with you as well as some mental training that is much needed for me, some recommendations on that for you. Let's go ahead and get started with some long run footage from this past Monday's last long run of January. Buddy. Just getting ready for my long run with this crazy guy to contend with as I do my foam rolling, which is a non-negotiable before I head out for any long run. Got it going right there. And heading out for 16 miles, which is going to put me just shy of 200 miles this month. So pretty excited about a good first month of Boston Marathon training and going to put my goal out there to all of you, kind of my big scary goal of sub 3:30, but I'm going to go for it. Why not? I think I really decided on this after listening to this really good podcast with a sports psychologist. So I'm going to share a little bit with you about that and just mentally training in addition to all the other good stuff, running, strength training, all of that, and why it's so important. So I'm going to talk to you about that and get my long run done and check back in with you. All right, I'm in like 5.5 of the 16 miles. Ran up some hills here. Getting in quite a bit of hills actually today. But it's going in. It's a beautiful day. It's like going on 50, I guess, or will be. It's a little windy. I could do without that, but otherwise good. I mean, any day that looks like this in January in Colorado is a good day for running. So I just finished my 16 miles, which is what I had planned for today. So I could be done, but if I do that, I noticed I'm going to be 1.1 miles away from 200 for the month. And I just don't think I can let that go. I mean, I could, but hey, I don't want to miss the opportunity for a nice 200. So this is Boston Marathon training. I'm feeling good, so I'm just going to do it. So yes, I went ahead and did 17.1 miles for my last long run of January, simply so I could get that nice even 200 for the month. I'm sure some of you guys understand because I didn't want to be at 198.9. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that everyone do that, especially have a coach. Don't go against their advice and just like do extra. But I felt very comfortable at that mileage, especially coming off CIM training block. I really feel pretty acclimated to that mileage anyway, so it wasn't like way outside my comfort zone. I just took that last mile extra slow. So I was really proud of myself. Honestly, I just think these are some of the types of things where in my head I'm saying, oh no, I don't need to do that. Oh, it's way too much. When in actuality, I know that I can do it. And it's really just one of those mental blocks and getting past that and going outside my comfort zone, feeling uncomfortable to do that last 1.1 miles, which is really good training for the marathon. And that's kind of what I said in the video was like, this is Boston Marathon training. This is everything that I've been working for and I get to do it. So there's no holding back at this point, really. I mean, I need to keep my body healthy. That's number one, obviously, but within reason, I need to do the things that I know are hard. And you heard me say sub 3:30 is the goal for the Boston Marathon. And if you watched my last Boston Marathon training update, or the first one, I really said, I think I want to do it. I don't know. I'm having a really hard time deciding how I want to go about this. And I really think that is just a lot of me not wanting to put myself out there. So even though I have that goals video where I talk about you need to tell people these goals, it's really scary to put yourself out there knowing it's a possibility that you might not meet your goal, right? I mean, I think a lot of you understand that. There's a couple runners that I follow on YouTube who had experiences where they really put themselves out there with naming a goal, and their conditions on race day did not lend themselves to meeting those goals. But I just was really inspired by their courage. And So I wanted to do the same thing. And I ask my runners to do that as well. And so I want to be courageous and say, yeah, I want to go sub 3:30. I think that I have the fitness and the capability to get there. And so what I'm doing right now is getting the mental training in my head, building that confidence to actually believe that I am capable of doing this. So that's really what I'm doing alongside the typical training that we obviously think of, but that mental fitness is also super important. And so I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was from Jason Fitzgerald of the Strength Running podcast. He also has a YouTube channel and a blog. You've probably heard of him, but he had a podcast interview with Dr. Justin Ross, and it was just a really eye-opening conversation. Really resonated with me and some experiences that I've had myself. So one of the things in particular that Jason wrote on his blog post as sort of a tee-up to the podcast was talking about some of these examples that are not allowing us to reach our potential, these kind of mental hurdles. And he gave some examples. And the one that really stuck out to me was a lack of confidence has you starting races too slow, and without aggressive pacing, personal bests get more and more difficult. And as I look back on my last year, I had some really awesome races. I had PR after PR, and anyone looking at that from the outside in would think that that was fantastic. And I think that as well. In fact, I think that last year was a really good learning experience for me. And I do think it is super important to pace yourself well in races. And I think that that's what allowed me to kind of get some confidence this year, especially in the marathons. But when it came to CIM, I do for sure think that I could have gone out faster than I did. But that's one of those things of just being so fearful that I would get to the end and have nothing left. And it led to a really awesome experience. And so I wouldn't change that. I think I learned a lot in those last 6 miles and what I was capable of. I was running paces I never would have dreamed of running in a marathon. So I think that that was really important for me leading up to this training cycle and having the confidence to believe that I can actually shave this 3.5 minute time off of my personal best for the marathon and get under that for the Boston Marathon. So just like when we have these performance goals where we want to achieve this best time, we have to have process goals to get there. So it's really not just enough for me to say, yes, I'm going to believe in myself and have the confidence. Like, I have to do the work to actually get there because it's been difficult for me in the past. And so listening to this podcast really helped me understand some of the things that I need to pinpoint and work on. And I went ahead and downloaded this free mindset series that Jason had within that blog post as well. So I'll make sure I link the podcast and the blog post so that you guys can listen and read and have all access to all of this stuff as well. But the main things being that I really need to work on visualizing and seeing myself accomplish this goal and having the self-talk that I need to be positive, give myself positive affirmations and send myself positive messages. All of the things that I'm honestly asking you guys to do and asking the athletes that I coach to do. And I need to make sure that I'm doing it myself. So I just want to share several of the things that Dr. Justin Ross shared about what we can really focus on and hone in on when we are working on mental training alongside our running training. He talked about emotional intelligence, emotional regulation, pain tolerance, stress and anxiety management, trust, confidence, mindset, self-talk, cognitive appraisal. So my two that I really think I need the most work on are self-talk and having that confidence mindset. So that's what I'm going to work on. And so having that alongside doing all of the training that I know I need to do to reach the goal and pushing outside of my comfort zone and not doing things the way that I've always done them, those in combination are what I know are going to allow me to achieve my goal. And in the end, some of the time, and this is again, like me coming in and saying something negative is like, oh, but you never know what's going to happen at the Boston Marathon with the weather. It always seems to be crazy. But in the end, it's like, I can't control that. I can only control how I go into race day, being as prepared as I possibly can be. And that means both physically and mentally. So my recommendation would be to you to really focus on some of these things as well, or at least pinpoint from that list a couple that you can work on and think about how you're going to move towards that. I mean, doing some research to see maybe what you could be doing. He talked about really just leaning into an awareness that you need to work on it first and foremost, because then you can actually do the work you need to do to improve it, as well as finding the meaning behind your goals. And we've talked a lot about this on this channel, right? Is having a why, having a purpose for doing what you're doing. All right, so that is my little spiel on mindset training, what I'm gonna be doing and really focusing on going forward so that I can achieve my goals. I would love to hear if you guys have any experience with this, kind of what you've been doing, or if you have any recommendations to share with me and our viewers. I would love to hear that. All right, so let's go ahead and just get into a little bit of my training review. I know some of you guys are interested in that and kind of what kind of mileage I've been doing. So in addition to the mileage that I'm about to show you, I've also done 7 Orange Theory training sessions this month. So included in Orange Theory would be some running. So that mileage is also included here in what I'm going to show you. There is the rower. So that would fall into category of cross training. And then there is strength training. And so I've been utilizing that as kind of my base for strength training. And then I also do quite a few body weight exercises at home as well to supplement that. Okay, so going ahead and looking at my training for January, I've got my computer right here in front of me. And actually I put myself in as a runner under my coaching team on Final Surge. And I'm like, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner, because it's really nice how it's all laid out. So if we go ahead and take a look, you can see other than the first week of January, really the rest of the month looks the same in terms of my scheduling. Really that first week of January was just a way to kind of ease in. You guys, I was not ready to start another marathon training block. Less than a month after CIM, and I was just really enjoying kind of doing what I wanted and running when I wanted and Orange Theory when I wanted, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, it's time to start, and I wasn't ready. So that was hard. It was hard to get my mind around that first week, but I am in it now. I'm like, let's do this. So I'm glad that mindset changed for me, because I was a little worried, to be honest. All right, so you guys can see how my schedule lines up. I always have my rest day on Wednesday. This starts the schedule of the week on Sunday. I start mine in my head or like on my Garmin on Monday, so the mileage at the end of the week doesn't exactly match what I would say that it is. But basically, I'm just going up a little bit more than 10% each week, and where I'm at with coming off another marathon training block, I'm comfortable doing that. I don't do anything too crazy. The first ones were like less than 10%. This one was a bigger jump for this past week. I think I ended up doing like 52 miles this past week. So I was really happy about that, and just honestly feeling really good. This will be another big week, and then next week is going to be a cutback week, which is going to be really, really welcome. So I have a recovery run on Sunday. My long run is on Monday, another recovery run on Tuesday, rest day Wednesday. Thursday is my speed work. So the way that I've been doing that is piggybacking speed work on top of Orange Theory, where there's also speed work at Orange Theory, depending on how I go about it. So basically I'm doing whatever speed work they prescribe within reason. I won't really go past running like 3K pace. I don't do like the all outs like I would have normally in the past, strictly because I don't think it's necessary. It's that weighing risk versus reward. It's too risky. I don't need it for marathon training. And then I go out and do a very specific workout that I've given myself that I know is going to prep me for my marathon. So do those kind of back to back on the day, then the recovery run the next day, and then a medium long run on Saturday. So that's my schedule. And as far as, like I said, I don't go ahead and schedule out every single day, because that is my schedule every day. I'm super disciplined. Once I start marathon training, that's the way it stays. If something comes up that just absolutely cannot be changed, then I will tweak little things, but for the most part, that's the way that it is. I was in the mountains with my friends, and I had to find a rec center with a treadmill, and that's what I would recommend you do as well. Saying that there's no option, that's rarely the case. The following weekend, same thing. I was in Fort Collins for a swim meet for my daughter, and so I ran on the treadmill at the hotel. That's just the way that it has to be sometimes. So it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be pretty. You just have to get the work done as best you can. I do always plan in advance what I'm doing for my speed work. I like to do something periodized where I have something specific I'm doing during base training, and then I usually change that up every few weeks. And then as I get closer and closer to marathon training, it gets more and more marathon pace specific. So that's what I'm going to be doing. As far as long runs go, just for what I have planned going forward, I am going to do 4 20+ mile runs. So this might change a little bit, but I have the basic framework. So I have 17, 20, 20, 18, 20, 21, and then I start my taper. And I am realizing how fast this is going to come, quite honestly, but I'm excited. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthy. If anyone watching this is running the Boston Marathon training, let me know how your training is going. I would love to hear about it, or if you're training for honestly anything really. How's it going? How did your January go, and what are you looking forward to in February? All right, guys, I'm going to continue to do these probably just monthly, so there'll probably just be a couple more of them, I think is my plan. I'll just check in with you at the end of February and give you an update there. If you guys have questions about anything with my training or that mental fitness, questions about that, please let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next video.